Hello friends, happy 2022 and welcome to The Dailies, your quotidian reflection on the sun's position in the wheel of the zodiac as expressed through the imagery of the Sabian symbols and the tarot. Today is January 2nd, 2022, and the sun is at 13 degrees Capricorn. Our Sabian symbol for today is a fire worshiper, and we have, how many tarot cards do we have today? 12. I swear to God, it's like it's not getting any smaller, friends. And they actually want to be read bottom to top. So I will give you the order. Row 1, we have the Hanged One, 4 of Cups, High Priestess. Row 2, we have Desire or Lust, or the Striker card, the Knight of Discs or Pentacles, the 3 of Pentacles. Row 3, we have the Moon, 2 of Discs or Pentacles, 8 of Wands, and then last row at the top we have the Hierophant, the 2 of Cups, and the 8 of Discs or Pentacles. Interestingly enough, they were very, very specific with me about, when I could come back and resume the dailies, and it's the new moon happening right now. As I sat down to record this and pull the cards and do all the things, I was like, oh, it's the new moon. So it is the new moon. Happy new moon, friends. It is officially 2022 as far as I'm concerned when the new moon happens. And so yes, so I do hope you guys all had a really wonderful holiday season. I hope that you got the peace and the clarity and the insight and the connection to yourselves that you needed. I was not expecting to be taking that break. I was fully ready to be okay, let's get into it. And they were just like, no. They're like, everybody needs to tune into themselves and everybody needs to be listening to their own voice, their own guidance system. Because really, right now, we are about to embark on this Taurian North Node, okay? The North Node is still in Gemini right now. And we only have that for another 2.5, 3 weeks before the nodes move into Taurus. And it's a different type of learning. It's a different type of energy that we're going to be in. And that learning is about listening to our own voice, listening to ourselves, feeling into our surroundings, being present, being embodied, okay? Without that third party energy, okay? Without anything, and that third party, we were talking about this a lot last month, without anything that separates us from our divinity, okay? And I feel like last week, and even amidst all the hustle and bustle of the holiday, because I know, I get it, I was also in the throes of all of that, it's being able to tune in and anchor ourselves no matter what. Not just when there's a ritual, not just when there's something going on, not just when we decide to make time for it. And I think that was really the energy, being so tuned in that we are always present with ourselves and we are always listening, okay? Not relegating that to the background any longer, okay? That was really what last week's break was about. Okay, so that you're not listening to me, you're not tuning into me, and I mean, believe me, I am so grateful that you are and that you do, and we learn things together, and we explore things together, and there's nothing wrong with this. Okay, there's nothing wrong with this, there's nothing wrong with learning, and, all of the different ways that we communicate and share what we learn in this energy, in this space, but there are times when the only person you need to listen to is you. And that's real, okay? That is so very real, and that is, really the mastery that is being asked for right now. That's what's being called for right now as we prepare to leave this, Gemini North Node, Sagittarian South Node axis. It's about what have we learned about ourselves? How have we embraced our own duality? And how do we integrate that? And we integrate that by holding it and listening, being present with ourselves at all times. All right, so I've said that. I don't know how many minutes I've spent talking about that, but I really wanted to say that because I think that it was really important to say. And so let's get into today. We've had over the course of the last week, we've had a lot of stuff go on, like astrologically. Venus and Pluto made their conjunction again. So this is their second conjunction that they made last week, over, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, day after Christmas, and into that Monday after Christmas. Venus and Pluto were together, and that was so much of their like, hey, listen to yourself, stay with yourself. And because right after that, then Mercury got into the mix. So it was Mercury conjunct Venus, then Mercury conjunct Pluto. And so Mercury is about our communication and also the unifying force. Okay, so when we're talking about Mercury coming into that energy that Venus and Pluto are kicking up, which is, okay, we have to be present and moving in our desire. That's what Pluto and Venus are talking about. Moving with and into a place of moving with our desire. Okay, and also evolving it. All right, because I feel like they're like, yes, evolution. Because Pluto's about evolution. So this is also about the evolution of our desire. And if our desire does not move, if we don't move it, if we don't work with it, then it cannot and will not ever evolve. And so that's what Venus going retrograde conjunct Pluto and then conjuncting Pluto again, and then at the end of at the whole end of the retrograde, at the beginning of March, Venus is going to conjunct Pluto again, this time with Mars, okay? And so what we're talking about is the movement of our desire, the evolution of our desire through movement, okay? And that's what we've been talking about this whole time, all right? So we're really getting into we're starting to really gain momentum in that space. And when Mercury moved in last week, like I said, Mercury's a unifying force. So when we're talking about holding ourselves in our duality, which is Mercury's domain, okay? And the communication between the duality, also Mercury's domain, okay? And then the unification of that duality with our desire nature, okay? So that's that trinity, that trifecta we've been talking about, okay? The way that we move within the world is through our desire. It's through our senses. And that's where we're talking about the nodes moving from this place of duality, okay? And with the desire unifying, okay? If you think about the Lover's card, okay, that's actually what that card is signifying, okay? The unity of the duality, and then the angel at the top is the desire to come together. That's the Lover's card. Now, when we swing that back into Taurus land, okay, what the thing that comes from that unification, okay, in the Lover's card is the Hierophant, okay, one being, okay, that is sovereign unto itself. All right, that's really what the Hierophant is talking about. It's about our own sovereign embodiment, okay? Not in the sense of the hermit, okay? They're very related, okay? But the hermit is whole and complete, okay? This whole and complete embodied self, okay? But is also now taking that completion to a higher level and moving forward by going within, okay? The Hierophant is about embodying the sovereignty, embodying the innate wisdom, embodying the body's wisdom, embodying the wisdom of our desire, okay? Which is how we move through the world with our senses, okay? With our senses intact, taking things in and being responsive, okay? Because a lot of what happens, when we take our body out of the picture, which is what religion tends to do, okay, and I'm mentioning religion in that sense because of Sagittarius, okay? We're coming out of a Sagittarius South Node experience where what we learn about our own embodiment through religion, because that's a Sagittarian theme, okay? What we learn about our bodies, whether you're religious or not, this is just in our culture, okay? Our bodies are considered less than. It's the mind that we want to strive to build, and it's the mind that we want, that's the thing that everybody's always talking about. And especially, like I was saying, with religion, the body does things that we don't like, okay? All right, religiously speaking, okay? It takes us into, it's sexual, it's feral, it's, it it makes sounds, it leaks, it, it does all kinds of things. It poops, it pees, like we do all of these different things through our bodies. And so in a lot of that culturally and, in so many ways, humanity has come to not respect our physical form. But it is our physical form that actually allows our souls and allows our spirit expression. Okay? And that is what we're going to be learning about when the nodes move into Taurus. Okay, when the North Node moves to Taurus, then we're going to learn about how our body actually is having our body connected to our soul and our spirit, and that trifecta, that unity. Okay, how all of that works in tandem to help us, really embody our highest truth, our highest good. Okay, so that's kind of the recap. All right, we've also had some other things. Uranus is now on the 10th degree in Taurus, and that means that Uranus is preparing to go direct. Okay, Uranus has been retrograde since the beginning of August. Okay, and is about to, prepare to station in the next couple of weeks and start moving direct again. So that means that Uranus will not be so much in that internal space. Okay, we're not going to be having so many of the internal breakthroughs, okay, because that's really what Uranus and Taurus has been talking about. Uranus does not act the same in Taurus as Uranus in Aries, for instance, like 9 years ago, okay? It's a different kind of energy. When Uranus in Taurus, it's groundbreaking, okay? It's revolutionizing our connection with our bodies, okay? Because Uranus is about connection as the higher octave of Mercury, okay? Uranus is about, even in our bodies, and I've said this a number of times, Uranus rules our connective tissue, the things in our bodies that connect the neurons, okay? Because Uranus rules electricity, okay? And so the neurons, our nervous system, Uranus, okay? How our body communicates, Uranus, okay? So this is establishing a new precedent of communication with our body. And if you think about spirit, like pure spirit is nothing but electricity, okay? It is electric, all right? That's how our body, our impulses come from spirit. Okay, those electrical impulses are spirit. The fluid that moves through us is our soul. Okay, those are the ways that it all ties in together physically. Okay, and that's the path that we're all going toward. Okay, that's the path that we're going toward. So as Uranus prepares to move direct, okay, all of this internal rewiring that we've been doing. Okay, and we've talked about this for the last few months, like the new connections that we're making. Okay, it's almost like, we've made the new connections, we've rewired the circuit board, okay, the motherboard even. All right, we're rewiring ourselves. We're making all these new connections. We're rebuilding bridges. We're closing off certain areas, breaking things down, rerouting energy. We're doing a lot, but most of that is internal. Okay, when Uranus goes direct, we're going to start seeing more changes, okay, because it's also in Taurus. So that means our reality, which is what Taurus is about, our embodied reality, is going to start changing more and more and more because we are different, okay? Our insides are different. And remember, we've talked so much about our resonance, how we're resonating, okay? That's the difference, okay? When that retrograde is complete, because the retrograde just means it's an internal soul lesson that we're doing, okay? And when that's complete, that means that the internal things that we've needed to do so that we could move forward, okay? Because if you think about what happened, from August to August, okay, or even the things that were happening just up until Uranus went retrograde, the beginning of August, it's almost like we were starting something, we're getting into something, and then it's like the thing is still happening, but we're having to do a lot of making different connections in ourselves, thinking about things differently, seeing some things about ourselves. Okay, it's a lot of internal breakthroughs, okay, a lot of internal changes that we've had to make in order for us to now be able to welcome and recognize the changes in our reality. Okay, I hope that is making sense. So yes, Uranus has moved to the degree that it will be going direct on within the next couple of weeks. Mercury's in shadow phase, okay, because Mercury will be going retrograde. I wrote it down somewhere, I can't find it. But going retrograde, I want to say mid-month, okay? So we're going to have Venus retrograde and Mercury retrograde, and their retrogrades are going to overlap, which they generally do, okay? They generally do, so this isn't like, oh my God, it happens, okay? It happens all the time. So their retrogrades are going to overlap, okay? And when we're talking about, Mercury and the retrograde and Venus is retrograde and the overlapping, and remember how I was talking about, last week when Venus and Pluto conjuncted, then Mercury, Venus, and Pluto were all conjunct. Okay, whatever was going on last week, okay, whatever those breakthroughs were, that's why it was so important that you listen to yourself, that you take the time to be with yourself. Whatever was happening, okay, whatever changes in your reality that you were seeing, hopefully you were being met inside with how to meet those changes. Okay, all right, because I'm sure that and I know for myself that was definitely something that I was seeing, because like I said, I was having the exact same experience we all were on some level or another. Whatever was happening in our reality, the changes that we need to make to meet that reality, okay? Because remember, we've been talking for the last month about meeting this new reality, meeting this new path, meeting the new journey, okay? And the ways that we have to show up in order for us to walk that path, okay? In order for us to take this new journey, we have to show up in a certain way. And last week was about, at least definitely for me anyway, I don't know about everybody else, but they are saying that that's what that was about, okay? That was what it was about. Seeing where and how you are now prepared and ready to step up, okay? And it's not about the work that you now must do. It's about how, we just have to step in, okay? We've already done the work. The wiring is there. It's like somebody just needs to flip a switch. Oh, interesting. Okay, it's almost like flipping a switch, okay? We see it's like certain points you can't go back to, and certain things it's just the new reality is kind of, it's meeting us, okay? And we're watching it come in, and we're also moving toward it. It's like that what you want wants you energy, okay? All right, and that's what's happening, okay? And in that energy, okay, and this is why I'm talking about, last week with the Mercury, Venus, Pluto conjunction, is because that exact same energy is going to be present as Mercury and Venus are retrograde together, okay? So we're going to be coming into a space where we are able to anchor in. And I think that that's why they wanted me to read the cards bottom to top, because this is about root level changes. This has been about reconstruction at the roots, because don't forget, Uranus is in Taurus. Taurus is about the earth, okay? And the earth, while we tend to not really think about it, the earth is comprised of all of the elements. That is what earth is. Earth is the realm of mastery of all of the elements. When you take all water, fire, air, ether, you put it all together, you get earth. Earth is the place, it's matter, it's where you can move things and work with things, okay? It's the realm of mastery, okay? So when we're talking about Sagittarius being like a mastery of energy, because it's a fire sign, okay? Mastery of energy through how we think and how we communicate, because it's opposite air. When we move into Taurus, that is physical mastery, okay? That is creating our reality based on all of the input of all of the other elements, which are our senses, okay? All right? So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about, this movement into a new way of being. And it's very much rooted. So what the cards here are talking about, being read from right to left, not right to left, excuse me, being read from bottom to top. They're being read from left to right, actually. Just so I'm clear about that. They're not being read from right to left, but maybe they should be. Maybe. All right. Well, we'll take a I'll see what that wants to be. But anyway, what we're talking about is we're talking about being rooted. Okay, we're talking about being rooted. We're talking about having, a deeper level of understanding. And this is what I was talking about with Uranus being in Taurus. Taurus is the earth. So Uranus is going in that breakthrough, that ground breaking. Okay, when things have to happen underground, when things have to happen within our deepest areas, our deepest parts, okay? Fundamental restructuring of our reality, fundamental restructuring of, the ground that we're standing on, okay? And that has to happen also because groundbreaking, when we think about, Venus and Pluto bringing up gifts from the underworld, bringing up the things that we need for our embodiment, okay? Bringing this up. And I don't know if I actually shared this with you guys. I know I shared it with a few people that I had readings with last month, about, I was doing an astrological archetype talk for my son's class because they were studying Greek mythology. And, we were talking about like the planets as, as the characters in the myths, obviously, which I am also holding a class on for adults soon in February, so look out for that info. But anywho, when I was doing that, I came across, the etymology of Pluto's name, which I never really, I think I knew it, but didn't really, think about it. Pluto in Roman, Latin, okay, the name means, oh my gosh, what did I just forgot it. It's right here in my book. I will get it for you. And I think I even said this in one of the last recordings that I did, but I want to just make sure that we see. Okay. Hades means the unseen one. Okay, so that's Hades is Greek. Okay. And Pluto in Roman means wealth giver. Okay, so the unseen wealth giver. All right. Hades being, the Greek name for Pluto, the underworld, the unseen one, the one that we do not see. Okay, and that's what we've been talking so much about. Welcoming the unseen, diving into the unseen, getting right with the unseen. Okay, welcoming it, talking to it, merging with it, integrating it, all of those things, okay? And then when we're talking about the gifts, because I keep saying that January is exit through the gift shop, okay? And it's a very particular type of exit, as I'm going to explain in these cards one of these days when I start talking about them. But what it is it's this energy, we're getting the gifts that we need. We're getting the wealth that we need after having been through this underworld journey, okay? That is what we are talking about, okay? That's what we're talking about. The wealth that we have accrued, okay? The things that grow in the dark, the way that they are anchored, okay? All of the growth that has to happen under the ground before we see the results, before we see on the other side, okay? In the sunlight, before we see what it is that we have actually grown. Okay, things do not bear fruit underground unless they're potatoes or root vegetables, okay? And some of us are root vegetables, let's be very honest, okay? But even root vegetables have to have something that touches the light, okay? They have to have something that shoots up and touches the light, okay? So that they can grow, so that they can do the things that they need to do, okay? So we're also talking about Uranus stationing to go direct in January is opening up the ground so that Pluto and Venus, okay, so that the unseen ones, okay, the parts of ourselves that have been unseen, okay, and up until now haven't really seen the light of day. Okay, now we go down there and we've learned how to talk with them. We've learned a lot about ourselves. Okay, but what is happening is Uranus is opening and breaking that ground so that there can be a full exchange, okay, on the material level. Okay, it's a material level, it's a tangible exchange. Okay, we've done the internal work and now we need to see the growth. Okay, it's like the shoots are able to come up. All right, so this is where we're also really talking about, Venus's retrograde journey ending in March, basically kind of Mercury's retrograde journey ending in March. Okay, this is coming at springtime. Okay, and for all of, for everybody that's also wondering, when is this COVID thing going to kind of like slow down? I think we're still it's going to be with us. I don't think it's ever really going away, but springtime. Okay, springtime is when the new reality structure, like we actually start to see the gifts. Okay, not that we're not getting them all along. Okay, I want to be very clear. It's not that we're not getting them all along. I think it's just that we're going to be able to see even more clearly. Right? And the reason why I'm saying this is because we are starting the bottom row off with the Hanged One, the Four of Cups, and the High Priestess. Now, the High Priestess for the last month has been showing up as, the puller down of the veil, okay, between the worlds. Okay, that really is what the High Priestess is anyway. But it's really been showing up as, all the gifts that we need are on the other side. Okay, and the High Priestess is opening that portal, opening the space, okay, so that we can actually reach in, get what we need. Okay, so when we're talking about exiting through the gift shop, the High Priestess is actually the person at the threshold holding that door open so that we can get into the gift shop. Okay, so it's about getting ready to exit. Okay, now, okay. Ironically, I am reading this right to left right now. It wasn't a choice. It's just the way it came out. But so basically a lot of like this bottom row is talking about being still. Okay, it's the stillness. So the Hanged One, obviously head upside down towards the earth. Okay, towards the wisdom that is in the earth. Okay, this is how we are going to evolve. All right, by taking a different perspective than we've taken before. Okay, and this means that we're tuning in to the earth. That's really what this is talking about to me. This is about tuning into our deeper desires, tuning into the things that are going on in the unseen. That's what the Hanged One is talking about to me this time. All right, because the Hanged One is actually hanging in front of the High Priestess's matrix. Okay, the High Priestess is the matrix. She's the fabric. Okay, it's the fabric that we actually live within. All right, it is the connective tissue that Uranus's signals go through. Okay, that is the High Priestess. It is the fabric of our being. Okay, if that makes sense, that's what the High Priestess actually is, the fabric of our being. When we talk about, even, the fabric of space and time, that is the High Priestess. Okay, that is what that energy represents. It's the fabric of all life, everything. All right, and so the Hanged One, in this particular version of this this card, is actually hanging in front of this matrix, okay, hanging in the fabric of all beingness, okay, by their foot, all right, and also the fabric is hung low, okay, so just like the High Priestess card, there's a mirror here, okay, the Priestess is letting down the veil so that you can see, okay, you can see the other side, you can see her on the other side, okay. But at the same time, in the Hanged One card, okay, there is also this sense of the matrix is only down so low, and then you can see nothing but light at the top. okay? And that's where, that's talking about being rooted, okay? Because the foot is rooted in the spirituality, rooted in our intuition, okay? Rooted in our intuition, because the feet touch the roots of things, touch the ground, take in that sensory information. This is taking in spirit, taking in, another type of frequency, another type of vibration, taking in the unseen at our root level, at our feet. But we are chained, we are chained, because this hanged one is nailed to the matrix, nailed to the fabric of being. This is talking about, it's actually the key to our beingness here. Okay, that's really what this is talking about. Being suspended in matter, being suspended in being. Okay, and the trick to it is to tap into what we can't see, because this hanged one here, their head is connecting to, there's a snake, okay? There's a coiled snake in this little bowl looking place. I don't even know. I can't really describe it. You'll see it in the picture. Okay? And this is talking about our desire. Okay, that's what this is talking about. It's talking about our desire. The snake is the desire. Even when you're talking about, the Garden of Eden, like that myth, and we're talking about, snakes eat kundalini, okay? All of those things. It's the union of the snake, the Duran Duran song, okay? Why does the snake want to unify? What makes the snake move? The snake is desire, okay? The undulation of our desire, the movement of our desire. It is primal. It is sensual, okay? So openly being tapped into that, okay, that is the key to our experience, okay? Our experience of our earthly bodies, our material reality, okay? Being tapped into that, but also rooted in spirit, okay? That's how we bridge that gap. We are the bridge. We are the bridge between the seen and the unseen. We are that bridge, and that's what the hanged one is talking about. Okay? Now what's uniting the hanged one and the high priestess, because they're both talking about just this experience of being kind of suspended while we wait. Okay, but also because I'm saying that because of the Four of Cups card as well, and they all have this sense of pause. All right, obviously the hanged one does, but the Four of Cups, it's like this. I always talk about it. It's like a closed circuit. That's what the Four of Cups this particular Four of Cups talks about, because it's the cups. It's not that there's no movement. The water is moving. The water is flowing between 4 different fountains. However, it's self-contained, okay? The water is just being recycled within. Okay, it's not fresh water. It's sitting in fresh water, but the water, it's not sharing the water outside of it, and it's not taking any new water in. Whatever water is there is what's there, and it just keeps going through in this self-contained way, okay? And there is something here about us needing to do that, okay? This feels like the end of December, okay? Us needing to be self-contained, us needing to take in our energy and kind of hold a little bit, okay? So that we understand what it is that we know, and we can feel what it is that we know, and we can really, really get right with that feeling, okay? So the Four of Cups today isn't talking about being inhibited. It's actually talking about the pause that is necessary, okay, so that we actually understand our own being, okay, so that we can take things and look at things from another perspective, a deeper perspective, okay, while still being rooted in, still being rooted in our intuition, still being rooted in rationality, still being rooted in all of those things, but allowing and giving space to our desire, okay? Allowing and giving space to, and really understanding our, like I said, our own physicality, and even our own mortality. Okay, like we don't have time to be wasting. We're not here that long. Okay, all right, we don't have time to waste. Okay, and it's like seeing all of this truth while being like kind of paused to listen to ourselves. Because that's what this Four of Cups is actually talking to me about today. The pause that we need to listen to ourselves. To hear what our desire wants to say. Which is what the Hanged Man. Okay, so it's like the High Priestess opened up that space. We pause, and the Hanged One is now speaking directly with our desire. Okay, and that's actually the thing that's funneling in the energy into the new fabric. Okay? Into this new fabric of being. So if you read it from left to right, it's the Hanged One, speaking directly to desire, which is what we were talking about in December, okay? Pluto and Venus are about desire. That is what they are about, okay? Especially together, okay? That is deep freaking desire, okay? So this is that snake coiled up underneath the head of the Hanged One. That is that communication that's going on, okay? So that's what this card, the Hanged One, is actually the Venus-Mercury-Pluto conjunction that happened last week. Okay, listening deeply to ourselves, tapping into what it is that our desire wants, tapping into what it is that we want. What is it that we truly desire? Okay, and then sitting with that in the Four of Cups. Literally marinating in our own juices in the best way. Okay, sitting with what it is that we desire with no outside influence. This is a closed circuit. There is nothing else influencing us but us. Okay? I got it now. Okay. All right. And because we're tapping into our desire, because we are still anchored in our truth, okay, we are still anchored there at the root, at our feet, okay, it's still there. Because the other thing is that the desire is also what is anchoring the foot of the Hanged One. Okay, so not only are they anchored by their desire, but they must go at the foot, okay, at the root, okay, that's what's hanging them upside down and holding us here is our desire to be here. Okay, that is what is actually holding us in the matrix, in the fabric of being. Our desire is what holds us here. Okay? And it is also the thing that we must tap into in order to move this matrix, okay? Because that's really what this progression from the Hanged One to the Four of Cups to the High Priestess is. The High Priestess is the lowering of the matrix, okay, so that we can get what we need. The High Priestess moves the matrix, but that movement only occurs when we know what it is that we are moving towards and we are in alignment with that. And that's what this Four of Cups is talking about. The closed circuit. No other influence but our own. No other influence but our own. We are tapped into our own desire. We are tapped into the things that matter most to us. We are fully tapped in. And because of that, the High Priestess can move the matrix. The High Priestess can shift our reality, can shift the fabric of our being. Whoa. Okay, that's what this is. Okay, that's this first row is the end of December, from Christmas to New Year's. Okay, really just talking about how tapping in, how choosing to move and work with our desire shifts our perspective. It shifts everything, and we come to a very clear understanding of ourselves. Okay, and what it is that we need. Period. No other influence, and because of that. Because we were able to do that. And this is on an emotional level. It's because we're talking about cups. So this is about feeling. It's about feeling. It's about intuition. Okay, so this is about that deep knowing when you feel something, because I always say feeling always precedes action. Okay, it precedes action. Action follows feeling. Okay, so now that we have the feeling and we understand it, and it is not influenced by anything else, it is our personal truth. Reality shifts, which is what the High Priestess is talking about. The shift in reality. Okay, and the high priestess is holding all of the goods, all the things that we need. So reality now shifts to help us get what we need. Okay, now row 2, we have the lust card or the desire card. Okay, but I think they're going to have me read this right to left and then left to right again. Okay, and also I want to say this too about there's movement here. There's a lot of, I've moved these cards so many times. Okay, and there's so many different ways that this can all take place for us. Okay, because this is about each one of us being authentic. Okay, it's about our authenticity. Okay, and because it's about our authenticity, this is not going to go down the same way for each and every one of us. Not that it ever has, but I really want to make this very clear. The energies are shifting, things are moving, so we're going to have to follow our own direction. Okay, we're going to have to follow what it is that we feel. Okay, and that, because that's really what this is talking about here. Okay, so moving up from the high priestess and the shifting of the reality. Okay, they want me to talk about the 3 of discs or the 3 of pentacles. Okay. And what that's doing with the 3 of Pentacles is that's been the emergence. Okay, we've been talking about the emergence of a new structure, the emergence of the channel for our desire. Okay, and that's what this is talking about. The high priest, because it sits over top of the high priestess. And like I said, the high priestess is shifting the nature of our reality, shifting the fabric of our being. Okay, to enable the gifts that are held in the unseen to make passage. Okay, and the 3 of Pentacles or the 3 of Discs has been showing up as the channel for not only the movement of our desire, but also the movement for the gifts of that desire. Okay, so what we're doing is we are actually, by being tapped in, okay, and listening deeply to ourselves, we are opening the channel. The channel is showing up. The way is being made. Let's put it that way. All right, because that's one of those deep old Christian things. Lord will make a way. Okay, Jesus will make a way. All that stuff. The way is being made, but it's us. Okay, it is our own divinity. Okay, it is us as God. It is us as Jesus. However you want to talk about it. The way is being made because we are tapped into our truth. Period. Okay? So that is being foiled and brought, because this card too it has like this resonance. It's like it's vibrating. Okay? It's sending out a ripple. Okay, and that ripple is being caught by the Knight of Discs. Okay, not only is it being caught by the Knight of Discs, but it is also being put out by the Knight of Discs. Okay, so the Knight of Discs in this particular card, it's the darkest, heaviestly clad knight. Okay, he's got on a black armor and a nice dark horse, and everything's heavy and stocky. And he's holding the shield, and the shield, you can't tell if it's emanating or if it is drawing in, but the shield there's all these concentric circles of light, okay, going out from the shield or coming into the shield. So it's like as this channel for our desire makes itself known, as the ripples, okay, because the high priestess is shifting the fabric of our being, okay, in order to make space for this new way of being, which is the movement of our desire through the channel and the things that come from our desire through the channel. Okay, it's creating a ripple effect. Okay, and that ripple effect is tangible because we're talking about pentacles, we're talking about discs, we're talking about earth. Okay, so the Knight of Discs, okay, is here with this shield. Okay, and yeah, because, okay, so it's receiving the emanations that are coming from the 3 of Discs, okay, that are coming from this channel. All right, and the fact that the knight is dressed in all black, black is about absorption. Okay, it is a color that absorbs energy. Okay, so it's absorbing the energy of the channel. It's absorbing the energy of the channel for our desire. It's absorbing the energy, okay, of reality shifting. Okay, while at the same time, because on the other side of the Knight of Discs is the Lust card or the Desire card. Okay, and we've talked so much about this card because it keeps showing up. Okay, and it keeps showing up with the Three of Discs. All right, and it's showing up as our deepest desires being pushed up and through the channel. Okay, so the Desire card is us. Okay, over top of the Hanged Man, that's where this one is, over top of the Hanged One. Okay, the Lust card or the Desire card is talking about us being so in tune with our desire that we are willing and able and ready to push it forward. We are ready to move. We are ready to bring it to the surface. Okay, and what that does with the Knight of Discs, which is the card next to it, what it does is that it actually permeates our being. So we are resonating with our own desire. So not only is the Knight catching the resonance, okay, and that's why they want me to read this from left to right and right to left, because it's a simultaneous movement. Okay, this is moving in unity. All right, so we are eminent when we decide to when we connect in with our desire and we decide to push it up and out, then we resonate. Okay, we resonate with the desire. All right, and with the Knight of Cups being above the not the Knight of Cups, excuse me, the Knight of Discs being above the Four of Cups card. Remember how I was saying the Four of Cups is talking about that closed circuit. Okay, this is us, no other influence. It's just us. And we are moving this energy back and forth. That's how the resonance happens. It's a feeling. We are so in this feeling. Okay, so in this feeling that we are not only catching the vibration of reality shifting, okay, the fabric of our being shifting, okay, we are also resonating to the change. Okay, so we're meeting it. This is the meeting in the Knight of Discs. Okay, I hope that makes sense, because this is both us resonating and our reality resonating at the same tone, and we're catching it. Okay, we're catching that. All right, and there's an interface, there's an interaction. We're absorbing the changes that are happening around us, even as we cannot see them, okay, because we're talking about High Priestess energy, we're talking about Hanged Man energy, okay? We can't see it, but we can feel it. All right, and that's what the Four of Cups underneath the Knight of Discs is talking about, being able to feel it inside of ourselves so deeply that we are resonating and calling out and also being answered. Okay, because our own resonance is the call out. Okay, the channel, okay, and the High Priestess is the response. This is call and response. This is communication between the dualities. Okay, and it is all focused and happening through desire. Desire is the channel that creates the communication. Okay, it is the communication loop. All right, if we are not in our desire, then we are in a negative feedback loop, and we talked about that last week. Okay, and this is why I was saying those things about religion. Religion cuts us off from our desire, tells us that's bad, tells us that's wrong, tells us blah, 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 blah. Okay, and we're led by that. Okay, we're led by our desire, and that is why the Lover's card and the Devil's card mirror one another. Okay, because in the Devil card, it's those same two dualities, but they are actually united by something that is false. That's that negative feedback loop, that third party energy, okay, that pain cycle that I was talking about, that's the Devil card. Okay, when we are in our truth and we are actually following our highest and most deepest desire, okay, then what we get is the Lovers. That's the true thing that unites us. That's what we are actually communicating with. All right. And they're having me make this figure 8, which I'm cracking up about as I'm talking about the communication loop. Okay. So we're going to move up to the next level. All right. And we're actually just going to start with the middle card this time. Okay. Because it's the communication loop, what we're talking about, which is this figure 8, which is represented by the snake. Y'all, I shit you not when I say this stuff, because this is not even the reading that I thought I was going to do. truthfully. When these cards came out, I thought this was a whole other thing, but it's not. Okay, it's not what I thought. All right, so we're going to start with the Two of Discs. Okay, so we're moving up the middle from the Knight of Discs to the Two of Discs, and the Two of Discs is the card with the snake swallowing its tail. Okay, but snake has a crown on. So this is the mastery of the communication between the dualities. Okay, that's what this is talking about. It's talking about the because they have a yin yang on, and one is in the light, one is in the darkness, and the snake's movement is what unites the two and what moves the two dualities, what moves the polarities together. And we talked about this last month. Okay, the desire is what facilitates the communication and the movement between the dualities, between the parts of ourselves, between the seen and the unseen. It is the desire that links us. Okay, and so when we're talking about this resonance in the Knight of Discs and the communication, okay, call and response, that is shown in the Two of Discs, which is also talking about a change in our reality, a physical change in our reality. Things are going to start to look different because they have to. Okay, they just freaking have to. All right, and still not to the degree where you're like, whoa, everything's changed, but we're going to start feeling and seeing minor changes. We are going to start responding differently. Things are going to start getting different. Okay? Now, because of that communication, okay, because of the desire moving the dualities and this call and response that is happening with and through our desire, because when we're also talking about this Two of Discs card, we go from the Three of Discs, which is talking about, the channel and movement, to the Two of Discs, okay? The Two of Discs is actually the Three of Discs in motion. Okay, the Three of Discs is talking about the surfacing of the channel. The Two of Discs is the channel. Okay, that is the snake. That is our desire in motion, moving everything around, okay? And facilitating the communication between what we see and what we do not see, okay? And being in, and also it's not irrational. That's what the crown is for. This isn't about being irrational. This isn't about being base or lewd or rude or any of those things, okay? It's about what it is that we truly want, being tapped in to something higher, being tapped into that higher frequency, okay? Because the higher frequency can't experience itself because the parts of us that are in that higher frequency need us as matter to experience themselves. And that's what this is talking about. This is talking about us being tapped in to those higher reserves that the Hanged Man is rooted within. Okay, and knowing that that's how we know that when we're tapped into our highest good and we are moving from that place, then everything works out for everyone. We're not harming anyone. Okay? That's what this is, and because I really feel that that's important to say, because so many of us have these negative connotations of desire and what it is to want something. Okay, and we're always told that we shouldn't want things that badly, or if we do, then that's wrong, or it's going to hurt this one, or it's going to do. No, things work out the way that they need to. And remember, just because we think that something's wrong doesn't necessarily mean that it is. Okay, everything has the lessons that they need to learn. We just need to make sure that we are aligned with ourselves. And that's what this is talking about. Being so aligned to ourselves, like this Four of Cups energy, there is no other influence right now besides us. Okay, so that we can maintain our resonance. Okay, so that we can have a call and response and the appropriate communication that is necessary for us to create movement in this Eight of Wands card, which is the card to the right of the Two of Discs. Okay, so if we're talking about the channel for desire as the Two of Discs card, that is moving with and helping the communication lines between our dualities, okay, the seen and the unseen, okay, above and below, whatever, okay, and knowing that that is in our highest. We're not connected to some bullshit, okay, no more negative feedback loop. This is the right feedback loop. All right, that's what the Two of Discs is talking about. The appropriate feedback loop. Okay, that's what we're talking about. Okay, and when that happens, then there is actual movement. It lights the flame. Okay, and this is where we're talking about this fire worshiper. Okay, which is our symbol for today. But I think we're actually just talking more about January's energy. So I just want to be very clear about that. In so much as, you know, I think this is, like I said, the first reading that I do for every month is the month's reading now. Like, that's just the way they've done it. So this is January's entire reading, and then we'll do the dailies bit by bit. But this is also talking to me because this is the only Wands card we have. Right? It's the only Wands card we have. We have the Desire card, which is fire. Okay, because it's generally a card of Leo, because usually the Strength card. But this is talking about, like, this Eight of Wands is talking about the movement. Okay, remember, desire needs to move. Okay, when we're talking about, you know, the High Priestess to the Three of Pentacles, the High Priestess moving the fabric of our reality. Okay, the Three of Discs being the emergence of the channel. Okay, when the channel emerges and begins movement in the Two of Discs, the Eight of Wands, which is the impulse, the electrical impulses, the movement, we can move, okay? Because that's what the Eight of Wands always talks to me about. Always talks to me about electrical impulse, especially this particular card, because it's like all these little, like, they look like little lightning bolts, little red lightning bolts that are transposed against rainbows, okay? Which talk about our energy centers, okay? We are rainbows, people. We are rainbows, all right? We are all the colors of the spectrum, all right? We are that bridge. Rainbows are also bridges, okay? So when we're talking about that movement, that energy, okay, this is talking about the impulses, our own electrical impulses. This is giving space for spirit to move, okay? We are multi-layered. All right, so when we're in touch with our desires, with the soul of ourselves, our souls house our spirit, okay? And that is how they intermesh. Our souls help create the fabric for movement, okay? For spirit to move. All right, so when we're in touch with our desire and we allow it to move, then we allow spirit to move freely, okay? That free expression. And that's what the Eight of Wands is talking about. Okay, and at the top of the card, it's like a rainbow, like the full rainbow, all right, which is the bridge, but where the red lightning bolt arrows are, okay, that's more of a prism, okay? When we're talking about prismatic things, we're talking about refraction of light, okay, and how one particular desire, okay, just the one light, all right, white light, okay, and what happens when it moves through a prism? All of these different things happen because that one light went through one thing. So that's that we are the prism, okay? And it's talking about all of the different manifestations of that desire, okay? And all the different ways that that one true desire creates a whole world of different experiences that we can move within and through for spirit to for us to experience ourselves, okay? For our spirits to move freely, okay? So don't just get locked into, you know, I think that's why I was saying, like, I think that's why they had me say about, you know, worrying about how our desires affect other things. It will all work out because it's all in harmony. That's the other thing that this Eight of Wands card talks about with the rainbows and everything. There's a harmony here. Okay, there's a harmony here when we follow our own desire, our true desire. Okay, not that negative BS with the Devil card, okay? When we're talking about the true desire that actually unites us with our duality. Okay, because when you think about the Devil card, they're chained and they can't even reach each other. Okay, because they have to go through the devil for everything. All right, but when we are actually in touch with our desire, then our dualities can actually speak to one another. They can actually work in tandem. They can work in harmony, and we're happy on all levels. Okay. Now, the card to the left of the Two of Discs, which starts the row, is the Moon card. And what the Moon card is actually talking about, it's talking about, and I'm going to say this because I remember a few years ago, I was listening to someone, and I don't even know who it was, but they were talking about the Hanged One being about being ready to be born, which I never thought about. When we're in utero and we're waiting, we're ready to be born, the baby, we all flip to be head down at the root so that we're prepared for birth. Okay? So not only are we, pushing up and out, but we're also preparing for a rebirth here. Okay? And that's the other thing that the moon card is talking about, maybe not being able to see the changes, but knowing that changes are coming. They are on the horizon. Okay? They're moving up, because this particular moon card is about crossing the threshold. And what it's doing is it's actually showing the impulse, okay, the impulse of desire that the lust card or the desire card is showing. It's like there's this little scarab that takes that little ball of fire, okay, and moves it up through the channel, okay, towards, it's really the sun, moving it up towards the moon, okay, moving it up towards the light, okay, and it's taking it through the threshold, helping it cross the threshold into the Two of Discs card, which is moving, okay, it's moving through the channel, and then it refracts into this prismatic experience and expression, okay? So what we're talking about with the moon card is following the rhythms, because the other thing about the bottom of this moon card is that there's the bottom is, it's very flowy, but it also reads like, it reads rhythm. Okay, so it's about following our own natural rhythms. Okay, that is what this moon card is talking about. It's talking about following our natural rhythms, because there's a lot of like sine waves, and like it's about vibration. That's what it feels like. Okay, our vibration, and it's here's the other thing, the threshold that they're crossing, it's almost like Anubis, like Anubis on either side, like there's one, there's two, okay? And when we're talking about like crossing the threshold out of the underworld, that's what this is talking about. It's talking about crossing the threshold out of the underworld. That's why, sorry, I had to like get the right words. That's what the moon card is talking about, okay? Following our own rhythms, okay? Being authentic and true to ourselves, because remember, Anubis does not let you out. Okay, we cannot get out of the underworld unless we are authentic. Okay, unless we have been moved to change and be our true selves. That's what that's the only reason we ever go down there. Okay, because we're being asked to evolve, and to evolve into authenticity. Okay, so when we're talking about this moon card and all the waves, and the waves are the only thing that are in color besides Anubis, the Anubi. I don't know, but I don't know that they just, and there's Cerberus here too. So it's Anubis and Cerberus, and remember, they will rip you to shreds. Okay, if your heart's not right, they will rip you to shreds. So crossing this threshold, being carried, okay, because there's also a scarab here that's carrying this. Okay, so this is something primal, root level, deep. If we are not in tune with ourselves, this Four of Cups card, I swear I've never been so happy to see a Four of Cups card in my life. Okay, being so in tune with yourself, so synced up, so in rhythm, so in resonance. Okay, if you're out of tune, Cerberus is gonna eat you. All right, I'm just gonna say that. All right, Cerberus is gonna get you. All right, that's what this is talking about. But when we cross the threshold, when we cross out of the underworld, that's what this is talking about. Following our own authentic tune takes us out of the underworld. Okay? Because that's what the moon is talking about, taking us out of the underworld, but doing it in our own rhythm, in our own time. Okay, so that's why I was saying this is going to look different. It's going to be timed differently. All of these things for each and every one of us. So hold space for yourself, for the people around you, okay, for everything, because reality is shifting, friends. It really is shifting, okay? And the key to this right now is to stay in tune with yourself. And that's what they were talking about last month. Listening to yourself, no matter what is going on, no matter who's over for dinner, no matter who didn't like their gift, no matter how many times you got to travel, no matter what you're dealing with. Okay? It's about being in tune with yourself at all times. Okay? So when the scarab helps us take our desire across the threshold up and out of the underworld, the channel, which is represented by the Two of Discs, is moving and ready to go. It picks it up and everything starts going, and then we get the impulse moving through in the Eight of Wands. That's the movement that we're making right now. Okay? Now, as far as the Hanged One talking about birth, this is also talking about, the moon card in this, it is crossing this threshold. It's almost like vaginal, okay? Like crossing, making that initiatory step, okay, out of the unseen, okay, out of gestation, okay, gestating our desires, okay? Because remember how I've been saying, not everything in the underworld is ready to come out, okay? Not everything. So these are about the things that are ready to come out, that are ready to be born, that are ready to be seen, that are ready to be experienced. Okay? And picking those things, okay, which is what the Hanged One is also doing at the bottom here, taking those deeper desires, the things that are ready to move, and pushing them up. Okay, this is us surrendering, which is what the Hanged One's talking about. Surrendering to the process of allowing the things that are ready to move. Okay? Now, but also talking about that birthing process. This is a rebirth of ourselves in a different form, in a different way of being, in our desire, in our duality, in our totality. Okay? The human experience that we have known up until now, maybe we should prepare for something different. Maybe we should prepare for a different experience of our own existence, a different experience of our own lives, okay? And this kind of rebirth, okay? And we get reborn at the root. All right, so it's like it's a very interesting, but we're crossing into the light. All right? It's a very, very interesting dynamic, but it's super cool. All right? So next thing we're going to move up. I don't know where they want me to go. But let's just go to the Two of Cups, okay? Because what they're talking about here is the Two of Cups is the uniting, all right? So we go from the Two of Discs, which, the snake, okay, materially speaking, this is the movement of our desire, okay? The movement of our desire, let's actually talk about, we'll go to the Eight of Pentacles first, because the Eight of Pentacles sits above the Eight of Wands, okay, which is talking about that impulse, okay, the impulse to move, okay, the impulse and that groundbreaking, okay, the Uranus energy, okay, Uranian energy, and all of the different expressions of our desire bearing fruit and showing up as the Eight of Discs, which we've been talking about as the gifts. Okay, we've been talking about that card as the gifts, but also as the intertwining of the dualities. Okay? The dualities working in tandem and bearing their fruit, offering us the gifts of both the seen and the unseen together, being able to experience those gifts through the Eight of Discs or the Eight of Pentacles. Okay? Now, they had me move between the Two of Cups and the Eight of Pentacles because the Two of Cups is the feeling, like we can feel we can feel the duality, we can feel the seen and the unseen, and it gives us peace. And there is attraction, there's magnetism, okay? It is the intertwining. That's what the Two of Cups is actually talking about. In the center, when we go from the Two of Discs, which is opening that channel for our desire to communicate with the two polarities, they unite. That's the unification. Okay, and we feel that unification. Okay, we feel it. All right? And we see it. We see it in the ways that our lives are changing. Okay, we see it in the ways that we are changing as people. Okay, and how the more we change, the more our lives change, the more our relationships change, the more our work changes. When we change, everything changes. Okay? All right? And vice versa. As things change, because remember, this is a communication. This is a call and response. So when the unseen calls to us, and we actually bother to answer, because most of the time before we weren't answering, and so the unseen has to beat us down until we listen. Okay, but now it's like it's way easier, because it's like there's already there, the channel is open, and the channel is what we want wants us. Okay, there is the truth, which is the Sagittarian South Node, the truth of what our beings, our whole being in its totality really, really desires. Okay, not just the body, not just the mind, not just our emotions, okay, not the whole, what is the one thing that we really want? And all the other things will come from that. And that's what the Eight of Discs is talking about, that unity that we can see. Okay, the Two of Cups, because the fish and the Two of Cups are intertwined. Okay, and there seem to be two plants in the Eight of Discs that are intertwined. Okay, so it's like the knowing, okay, the intuitive knowing and the feeling of being united. Okay, the desire, moving in our desire gives our seen and unseen, okay, parts the feeling of being united. Okay, and the ability to unite and work as one. Okay, and then we see that reflected in the Eight of Discs. Okay, we see the fruits of that union. Okay, we see the fruits of our desire. Okay, now to the left of the Two of Cups card, okay, because that's in the center, remember, we have the Hierophant, which is talking about beingness. Okay, it is talking about holding the key, because this particular Hierophant has the key. Okay, the key, remember I was even talking about in the Hanged One. Okay, understanding the key to this physical embodiment, okay, is that we are following our desire. Now at the base, the root of the Hierophant, okay, is the Priestess. Okay, it's the Priestess at the root of the Hierophant's being. Okay, and this is at our root, all right, the wisdom and the knowledge, okay, of our reality. All right, and all of the gifts, because it's like all the things around the Hierophant, and it's all like fixed symbols. Okay, so it's about fixing ourselves, okay, through our desire, coming into color, coming into full being. All right, through our desire, and having that enlighten us. Okay, and it is our magic. We become, like I said, it's like this sacred one. I can't even describe it, but it's us in our wholeness. Okay, because the High Priestess in this particular, like with the Hierophant, standing at the root, like literally right at the groin, okay, right in the nads there. All right, it's holding the moon, which is intuition, the truth, which is our rationality and our mind and our communication, okay, and she's at the bottom, okay, of the pentagram, okay, and the pentagram is number 5, okay, which is also the symbol of humanity, our 5 senses. Okay, our experience of physicality, our legs, our arms, our trunk, okay, all of those, the number 5, okay, our head, all right? And in the center of the Hierophant's, garb is a star with a child in it, okay? This is about coming authentically, okay? And the High Priestess, the child, the Hierophant's head, all are in a line, okay? We understand what shapes and works our reality. We understand how to move our reality. Okay, we understand how to be in our reality. We know the key to the movement, and the key to the movement is unity. Unity of the seen and the unseen. Okay, that is how we embody. Okay, because that's what the Hierophant is actually talking about. Full on conscious embodiment. Not unconscious embodiment. Full conscious embodiment. Awareness of things, awareness of the unseen, okay, awareness of our own authentic selves, awareness of our desire. All of those things make us a full person. They make us fully present. They make us fully here. They make us wholly united, okay? And they make it so that we can experience our own divinity through our desire, okay? I think that's it. Interesting. This was not what I thought I was going to say today. All right. And I just want to say too, because on the split, I just like happened to turn the deck of cards over and there was the Magician, which once again talks about working with all of the elements. Okay. Working with all of the elements at once. Okay. And creating magic. Okay. And then the other card on the split, because I then just kind of like sat to the side, and I was the Star. Okay, remember we talked last month about the Star being like, you know, the pouring down, okay, the divine dispensation, the pouring down, making the higher frequencies, having them come down into matter, okay, and we are the vessel that happens within. All right, we are the vessel that happens within. So this is about having us clear our channels, clear our space, clear ourselves, okay? And not being influenced by any shoulds, any couldn'ts, any woulds, any of those things, okay? Because, and especially during Capricorn season, because Capricorn season is the season of those words, okay? You coulda, you shoulda, you woulda, okay? All of those things are Capricorn words, okay? And all the things that we say to keep ourselves stuck, to keep ourselves in structures that don't allow our desire to flow, okay? And what we're talking about is Capricorn at its best, okay, is in resonance, because that's what this Knight of Discs is talking about here. Capricorn at its best helps us to move in flow. That is what Capricorn does best. Okay, that is what it's for. It's meant to create a channel for, Capricorn is the channel for flow. It's the channel for movement to take place. Okay, and when Capricorn gets overdone by coulda, shoulda, woulda, and all those shamey kind of words, you know, where we either are shamed or we shame ourselves, okay, then what happens is Capricorn gets rigid and we stop flow. What is happening this month is that we're opening the flow. Okay, we're opening to the flow. We are preparing, okay, and we are being very, very mindful of ourselves and our influences and things that stop the flow, things that allow the flow, how we stop the flow, how we allow the flow. All of these things are what's happening this month. Okay, it's all about our flow. Okay, and it's all about allowing the flow to take place. Okay, and allowing the communication and allowing things to show up. So this is call and response. If we're in our zone, okay, if we are truly, truly resonating, then life will respond, okay? And we have to remember that we're learning this. So this is like little babies, you know, when you have a little baby that's learning how to talk and learning how to say words, if there isn't someone there to respond to the child, okay, that can say like, hi, or whatever the baby's saying, to let the baby know that they are heard, to, you know, to reflect back. Okay, we're learning language. We're learning how to speak to spirit. We're learning how to speak to the unseen. Okay, and we speak to the unseen through resonance. It is not through our minds. It is not through, it's through resonance. Okay, and it's through belief. It's through faith. Okay, that's how we speak to the unseen. And when this month is so much about learning that communication. That's what it's about this month. Learning the communication and learning to be answered. Okay, and being open to being answered. Okay, because I know for myself, like, I have fear about being answered. Okay, that's that negative feedback loop that, you know, I used to be in. Okay, and we all have a version of it. Okay, where I ask for something and consciously, but unconsciously, I'm like a wreck. And so what's happening is I'm getting the unconscious feedback. Okay, I'm not actually getting the feedback that I want, Okay, and this is talking about, now that we've broken away from that negative feedback loop, we have to learn how to communicate with our own unseen directly through our own desire. Okay? Now remember, Capricorn is the card of the devil. Okay, it is, or Capricorn's the sign what that corresponds to the devil card. So this is us having to be very, very clear and breaking those chains. Okay, discerning what is our true desire versus the shame around our desires. Okay? Like I said, the coulda, shoulda, woulda, okay, and I can't because so-and-so, and I can't because what would the neighbor say, and I can't because that's just bad, that's mean, I've done it. Okay, all right, no. Okay, and I think that's why they had me bring up the devil card, because it is the Capricorn card, okay? It's the shame, it is that thing that creates the negative feedback loop, where we aren't actually in touch with our desires, so our seen and our unseen can never connect. They're there, but they have to connect through shame. And we're undoing that this month. We are having an appropriate call and response party. Okay? And that's what this Knight of Discs is talking about, this, because that is a Capricorn card. It's actually kind of more Virgo Taurus, but it is showing up as like a Capricorn energy this time, about being so rooted in ourselves, so grounded in our truth, so grounded in our reality, okay, and grounded in what we know to be true, that we are resonating our own desire, okay? That's what this is talking about. We are resonating our own desire while also having the response to it come back. And if there are things that you want tweaked, then go within and check yourself, okay? Check where you're resonating, check how you're thinking about things, check how you're really feeling about things, check what you're saying to yourself, check what's going on around you, okay? All of those things are going to help us to really hone in our own internal communication with our own duality, with our unseen parts, okay? The unseen requires a different type of communication. It requires a different type of awareness, okay? And we have to learn that, and that is what this month is talking about. All right, so I think that's it for real. I think I'm done. Thank you guys so much for being here for another, year of this. And I'm really excited, and I hope that we can connect soon in a bunch of new and more fun ways that, will be coming up shortly. And yeah, so anyway, Happy New Year, friends. I love you all, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Much, much love.